ProPublica has a big story here about a move by the Trump administration, which was basically an attempt to conceal their corruption. So they explain, former U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara, forgive me if I mispronounce that, who was removed from his post by the Trump administration last week, was overseeing an investigation into stock trades made by the president's health secretary, according to a person familiar with the office. Tom Price, head of the Department of Health and Human Services, came under scrutiny during his confirmation hearing for investments he made while serving in Congress. The Georgia lawmaker traded hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of shares in health-related companies, even as he voted on and sponsored legislation affecting the industry. Bharara was one of 46 U.S. attorneys asked to resign after Trump took office. It is standard for new presidents to replace those officials with their own appointees. But here's the key right here, guys. But Bharara's firing came as a surprise because the president had met with him at Trump Tower soon after the election. As he left that meeting, Bharara told reporters Trump asked if he would be prepared to remain in his post and said that he had agreed to stay on. When the Trump administration instead asked for Bharara's resignation, the prosecutor refused, and he said he was then fired. Trump has not explained the reversal, but Bharara fanned suspicions that his dismissal was politically motivated by his personal Twitter account. Quote, "I did not resign," he wrote in one tweet over the weekend. "Moments ago, I was fired. By the way," Bharara said in a second tweet, "now I know what the Moreland Commission must have felt like." Okay, so let me break this down a little bit for you guys and give you the distilled version. The Moreland Commission was a commission that was supposed to investigate corruption in New York State. Now, what happened is Governor Cuomo, the second that commission started looking into him and his cronies, and they were on the trail of some of their corruption, Cuomo said, did I say we should have an anti-corruption committee? Anyway, dissolve the committee and fire everybody. So it was just a clear example of like, oh, I care about fighting corruption. Oh, shit, you mean looking into my corruption too? Fire him, let him go, censor it, shut it down. So that was a big story because it shows that, Cuomo, pretends like he's super progressive on all these issues, but the second you start looking into him to make sure there's no trickery and fuckery behind the scenes with his finances and the deals he's cut, then, he's just a standard politician like the rest of them. So that was a big story, this Moreland Commission. And Bharara is saying, well, the implication is the second I started looking into Trump's corruption, he decided, anyway, did I say you should stay on? What I mean is you should give me your letter of resignation. And Bharara was like, how about no? How about I keep doing my job? And he was like, okay, then you're fired. You want to talk about a red flag? You want to talk about a real scandal? Now, come to find out, the new piece of the story here, because that part happened a few weeks ago, but the new piece of the story is he was specifically looking into Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price, who we've covered the stories endlessly already, and every time I covered the story, what did I say? Go back and look at the segments. Every time I covered it, I said, I don't understand. I mean, we do have anti-corruption laws on the books. They're seldom enforced, but it appears like, through my layman's reading of the situation, it looks like Tom Price managed to violate some of the few anti-corruption laws we still have on the books, so he can get indicted, he can be brought up on charges, he can get convicted, he can go to prison. I mean, guys, it's one thing to have, if you go through the system of legalized bribery, what do you have? Campaign contributions. So you have corporations, PACs, lobbyists, billionaires giving money to politicians, and then the politicians end up doing their bidding. But the thing is, they're smarter about it, so there's no official quid pro quo. So in other words, it's not like ExxonMobil gives the money and says, I am giving you this money for you to keep giving me a corporate welfare check. They don't say that, it's implied. And since it's implied and the politicians do their bidding without actually meeting in a smoke-filled back room where they say it, they go, okay, it's totally legal and it's totally cool. Now, that should be illegal, but it's not. There, like I said, we have super lax campaign finance laws in this country, especially since the Supreme Court gutted the ones that we had. But this is an instance of what Tom Price did is he said, I am going to personally invest $300,000 worth of my own money into health stocks. And then I will turn around when I'm in Congress and propose bills that directly affect those stocks that I just invested in. So make myself rich by proposing legislation that would affect my own bank account. So what doesn't come into consideration is what's good for the American people. In fact, it's always at odds as to what's good with the American people, what's good for the American people. They go, yeah, I don't care about my constituents. I care about getting rich. So $300,000 worth, I'm going to try to get rich. Here, now let me propose this bill, which, makes that come to fruition. And remember, with Tom Price, it's both things. So he also took money in campaign contributions from the health companies and did their bidding. But furthermore, it's that extra level, the extra layer, which actually breaks the law of the self-dealing and personal enrichment, where he invests in companies and then tries to make those companies, do better financially by proposing legislation to affect them in that way. So Preet Bharara was looking into it, and look, my guess is he was actually building a case because there was a lot of smoke there and fire as well. So all you need is somebody to connect the dots, lay it out there, build a case, and then you could actually have Tom Price go to prison. And Trump found out about what he's doing, and he said, oh, did I say you should stay on? Anyway, no. Give me your letter of resignation. And he says no, and Trump says, then you're fired. Guys, this is the real scandal. Like, again, the Democrats are so lost, their heads are up their own asses screaming about Russia. Here's your real scandal. It's brought to you on a silver platter. This is one of those scandals where it's not even that hard to understand. Fucking Don Lemon, who's got -8 brain cells, he can go through this article in ProPublica, look at their investigation, and go, oh, yeah, I can even talk about that. And Wolf Blitzer can too, but no, they're super lazy. They just go to the stale talking points. Oh my God, what did he tweet today? Let's talk about that for fucking an hour and a half. No, you got to focus on the things that matter, because here's the main point. He ran on this anti-establishment, anti-Wall Street, anti-corruption message. He would point at Hillary Clinton and say, oh, Goldman Sachs, Wall Street controls Hillary. Wall Street controls Ted Cruz. He would say, not me. I'm self-financing. There'll never be any corruption in the Trump administration. Well, then why did you pick the most corrupt congressman for Health and Human Services Secretary? And then when they try to bring him down and Preet Bharara tries to actually drain the swamp, you say, actually, I love this swamp. I'm going to keep the swamp. The swamp is my friend. The swamp is my administration. So here you go. And it's not just the media that sucks, because they're not covering this in any serious way and painting this as the real scandal instead of the Russia fear-mongering. It's that the Democratic Party doesn't do it either. Now, why doesn't the Democratic Party do it? Because look, keep it real, man. The Democratic Party is also massively corrupt. It's not like Obama didn't pick people for ambassadorships, for example, who were massive donors to the DNC. That's exactly what he did. People who donated money to the DNC got ambassadorship positions from, Obama. But the thing is, they're all so corrupt that to tell them, hey, do you realize that there's corruption, is like telling a fish, hey, do you realize you're in water? They'd be like, what's water? What do you mean? This is all I know. I'm a fish. This is my environment. It just is what it is. I don't know what you mean, water. What is this water you speak of? That's how they act in Washington. Corruption. I don't know what you mean, corruption. Why would I attack Trump for that when all he's doing is picking somebody who he knows plays ball? He knows Tom Price will play ball and not blow the whistle on them when they do their own corrupt shit, and he'll be involved in these corrupt deals. So I don't understand the problem. What do you mean? Yeah, so he traded in stocks and tried to get himself rich by proposing legislation, and he's just massively corrupt. Well, what's the big deal? Oh, I don't know. Maybe that shouldn't be the case. Maybe we should actually have representatives that represent us and don't fucking get there to personally enrich themselves. It's just, it all feels so hopeless when you have, every day we come out here and give you like 3 or 4 real scandals with the Trump administration. And, you have good media outlets, or I shouldn't even say media outlets, good papers, good outlets I don't want to say media because it's not like it's big media like TV and, stuff like that, but like ProPublica. They do good work. You have buried in, deep in the paper, you have some actual reporting from investigative journalists, but this is not the stuff that makes it to CNN. This is not the stuff that makes it to MSNBC. This is not the stuff that makes it to the nightly news. That's always, always, always the tweets. Or, oh, he spoke to Kanye West. Wow. Or, oh my God, he cursed. Look how unpresidential he is. Focus on the real issues. Russia, Russia, Russia. Ever since you've been screaming that, you've been dropping in popularity. But if you were to go out there and expose Trump in a way that connects with the American people, and you show them how he is the swamp, he's not draining the swamp, he's just as corrupt, if not more corrupt than other presidents, well, that's when you get people on your side, and you expose Trump as not giving a fuck about regular people like he said he did. He's a narcissist, self-aggrandizing buffoon who's packed his administration with the ultimate insiders, and he's doing the standard far-right Republican garbage moves that'll be disastrous for the American people.